What's up, guys? So there are a lot of different weapons in Vermintide. There's about 45, and that can be kind of overwhelming for new players. So what I want to do is I want to break down this big number into a more manageable 8. So I want to break down the weapons into 8 categories, so that you can kind of have an idea about what to expect from a weapon, from any given weapon, based on what the weapon looks like. So obviously I'm going to be making some pretty substantial generalizations. There's a lot more detail than what I'm going to talk about, but I'm trying to break it down and trying to simplify things very intentionally. But to talk about every weapon would take well over an hour. Now, to address the weapons, I want to kind of address them by what threat they're going to neutralize. So are they good versus ogre or specials? Are they good versus single target or multiple targets? So that's like stormvermin or hordes. And a good rule of thumb to start off with is anything that goes side to side is going to hit multi-target. Anything that goes up and down is going to hit single target, or that stabs in. So here we saw a swipe, swipe, stab. So we saw multi-target, multi-target, single target. Every weapon has a different attack pattern. For one-handed swords and all swords in general, swords tend to be swingy. They tend to hit a lot of targets. They tend to be very good at control, but less good at stormvermin. If you want to damage a stormvermin, you either have to have a weapon that penetrates armor, that only hits one target, like an axe, or you have to use a charge attack. But the problem with the swords is almost all their charge attacks also hit many targets, so they tend to struggle versus stormvermin, but they're still very good, and very popular weapons are swords, one-handed swords and two-handed swords. They both share the same strengths and weaknesses. A couple exceptions would be the elf one-handed sword. Its charge attack hits only one target, so it's very versatile, and the falchion is super strong. It's also very good at killing stormvermin. For the bright wizard, the one-handed sword is by far her most popular choice. Flame sword is less used, the dagger is hot trash, and the mace is funky. And speaking of the mace, I guess I'll bring us to maces, which are the next category, are one-handed maces, not all maces. One-handed maces, you'll notice, they tend to be very similar to swords, right? Swing, 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 stab. The difference is that whereas you saw the sword's charge attack went side to side, the mace's charge attack goes down, so they tend to be a little bit better versus stormvermin, and a little bit more versatile overall. So for new players, I definitely recommend one-handed maces. They're super versatile weapons because of that, because they're good versus a large amount of rats, and then you can mix it up. You can get a nice single target damage in there. Next are shields. Let's go next. Shields are obviously, as you would expect, extremely defensive, lots and lots of stamina, very strong pushes, but you'll see a slower swing rate. The sword, I think, might be the fastest, but the swing rate tends to be slower than just a sword or just an axe or just a mace. Also, their charge attack, it's not for damage, okay? It damages one target, but it stuns every target. So this is not a way to do a lot of damage. It's a way to do a lot of control. It's a way to keep rats stunned and to keep them from attacking you. Shields are very defensive, very popular for newer players. Next, I will talk about two-handed axes, or the two-handed mace. I'm using the words mace and hammer interchangeably, by the way, in case you didn't notice. Now, on paper, the two-handers should be great. And they are great, but they tend to be a little bit more difficult to use. And I'll explain why. Light attack, okay, it goes down, so it's going to hit one target, right? And it's going to penetrate armor, so you'd think that might be good. The difficulty is that while the charge attack hits many targets, and you say, oh, that's great, I can hit many targets or one target, the weakness is that if I have 5 rats in front of me right here, there's like a full second almost where I'm completely defenseless, where I'm trying to charge up my charge attack. And if they get through one hit while I'm trying to charge up, they'll reset me. Oh no, I'll take damage. I'll have to try again. Oh, I'll get hit again. And it can very quickly lead to a cycle, into a downward spiral. So these tend to be a little bit harder to use, even though they are very versatile. They are super fun. I love the Great Axe in particular. But they tend to be a little bit harder to use. They work a lot better with teams and really playing with somebody than playing by yourself. Next are the one-handed axes, for which I'll have to change characters. So the one-handed axes, they look like they're doing swings, but they're actually doing stabs. So it looks like a swing, swing, swing. It's actually stab, stab, stab. Every swing with an axe will only hit one target, which makes it really, really great for stormvermin. But suppose there are 10 rats in this room coming at me. I'm gonna have to hit every rat. 1, 2, 3. I'm gonna have to swing 10 times to hit all of these rats. So less good versus hordes than a one-handed sword or a mace, but they are better versus stormvermin because you can just go to town against stormvermin and things like that. And their charge attack is also single target. If their charge attack was like a stab or something, or a swing, they might be a little bit more versatile. But as it is, they're kind of limited in their role. They're still great though, and this is an important thing that I didn't say in the beginning, but I will take a break and say this now, that this is not an RPG. This is an action game. Your weapon choice, it will determine kind of how you play, but it's not going to determine whether or not you succeed or fail. Your skill is 100 times more important than whatever weapon you're carrying or whatever traits you're carrying. There's people that can true solo on Cataclysm with white weapons. Weapon choice is not an important factor in this game. It's like a quality of life. It's going to make things easier for sure, but it's not the breaking point in this game. That's your personal ability and your team cohesion and the decisions you make. And just the RNG, whether or not the game screws you. If you get an ogre and an assassin and a horde, I mean, that's pretty rough to deal with no matter who you are. Next, we're going to talk about ranged weapons. Now, ranged weapons, you're going to tend to use them mostly versus ogres and specials, but not entirely. And I'm going to break the ranged weapons down into 3 categories: snipers, repeaters, and shotguns. And so these 3 categories do basically exactly what you would expect them to do. Snipers are for single targets. They're for killing specials and stormvermin at range. Repeaters are shooty. They're for killing lots of trash, maybe shooting into the horde. And then shotguns are in particular for shooting into the horde and killing lots of rats in general. So for snipers, for the witch hunter, you've got your crossbow, your regular crossbow, which is actually an extremely versatile weapon and favored by a lot of top players. It's very versatile. It kind of mixes all 3 of these, honestly, but I'm going to throw it in the sniper category for now. For the Way Watcher, you have the True Flight, obviously, and you have the longbow. For the dwarf, you have the handgun and the crossbow. For the wizard, you have the alt attack. You have the right click on the beam staff and the right click on the bolt staff. And then for the soldier, you have the handgun. And those are your snipers. And someone's calling me. And for your repeaters, these are your shooties. For your shooty, you have the repeater handgun. It's literally called a repeater. You have the light attack on the bolt staff, but that's not used very much right now in the current patch. And the light attack on the fireball and the conflag. It's very shooty. Good for shooting lots of rats. For him, you don't really have anything. The light attack on the Drake fires is kind of shooty. It's kind of DACA. For her, you got the swift bow. Lots of DACA there. Huge ammo reserve. You're going to shoot everything. And for him, you have, of course, the glorious brace of pistols and the volley crossbow. Now, if you want anti-ogre weapons, the most of the best anti-ogre weapons tend to be really shooty. Like the Hagbane, the volley bow, the beam staff are tend to be the best anti-ogre weapons. Although bolt staff headshots are strong, true flight headshots are strong, repeater handgun is strong. Barden doesn't have anything that really melts the ogre, except for crossbow headshots, which are also strong. Next are shotguns. These are things that will damage a lot of rats in the area. The alt attack on the volley can damage a lot of rats, but I wouldn't call it a shotgun. The ammo is so limited, you're not going to use it very much. What you will use it for is the alt attack on the repeater pistol is great at killing stormvermins that are right in front of you. So it's kind of like a shotgun. For the sake of simplicity, I'm going to put it in a shotgun/repeater category. And I didn't mention that earlier because I completely forgot it existed because I never use it. But some people use it and they love it. Me, But that's my opinion. A lot of people like it. I want to try to keep my opinion out of this if I can, but it's probably not possible. And next for shotguns, the Hagbane. You want to use the Hagbane kind of as a crowd control shotgun kind of weapon where you shoot at the feet of a group of rats, and you can stagger a whole group of rats rather than just shooting one rat at a time with light attack. For him, he has the actual shotgun, the Grudge Raker. He also has a Drakefire, so Drakefire's alt attack is very much a crowd control shotgun kind of attack. Their Beam Staff, light attack, is very much a shotgun, and then her Fireball and Conflag are these big area of effects, shotgunny kind of thing. So the Conflag, of course, isn't short range, but it's big area of effect. And for him, he's got the Blunderbuss, which is, you know, a shotgun. One thing I will say about these shotguns, the Blunderbuss and the Grudge Raker, that are actual shotguns, not things I just lumped into that category somewhat arbitrarily, is that the alternate attack, the right click, is a push. This is just like a shield push, so this will stagger all the rats around you and damage one rat. So anyway, so that is an overview of the 8 categories that I kind of lumped the weapons into, and hopefully this can kind of give you an idea as to how they work and what you can expect from any given weapon category.